We are being sold a pup when it comes to our energy grid, and it will all end in disaster. An expert review of the modelling the government relies on for its cost estimates and grid planning has concluded these documents play all sorts of tricks to try to ensure that renewables look like the cheapest option, when in fact they're not. For instance, incredibly, the estimates of future costs simply pretends that any money spent on transmission projects by 2030 is not part of the future costs. It's considered a sunk cost, when in fact the tens of billions of dollars spent on a massive transmission projects right across the country designed to link in renewable energy sites, well, that will all have to be paid for by consumers. Consumers will have to cover the massive capital costs plus an ongoing return on investment for the companies that build them. The modelling the government relies on is the Gen Cost report by the CSIRO and also the Integrated System Plan designed by AEMO, the energy market operator. And Climate and Energy Minister Chris Bowen has repeatedly used these to justify his policies and rule out even looking at other options like nuclear.
And the experts at the CSIRO have done the work. They show renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy and nuclear is by far the most expensive.
The problem is that according to some experts, when you actually look at these reports in detail, they don't properly weigh up all the costs or all the options.
The one experiment that might have shown how much cheaper it would be for us to not hit our net zero targets and keep using some coal and gas was completely eliminated from the record. And at the same time, several $1 billion worth of transmission projects flipped just over that knife edge where they were previously hanging in the balance and now became things that the consumers would start to have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to put into the fast lane.
Aidan Morrison is a data scientist who's been delving into the detail of these crucial electricity grid reports and reporting on them through a vodcast. And his work has been so impressive, he's just been appointed to head up the energy research program for the Centre of Independent Studies.
I'm not trying to advocate here for fossil fuels. I would like to decarbonise the economy too. I would like to see though that nuclear is given a fair shot, and it's so often just derided as being so incredibly expensive.
The bad news for consumers right across Australia is that regardless of the nuclear debate, our renewables energy push, the one that's already caused huge supply problems and cost increases in our electricity grid, well, it's now set to make matters even worse. Morrison says the modelling and the integrated system plan have not been primarily focused on containing real costs, but on bolstering the net zero goals and policy choices already made by governments.
There's no real effort in the integrated system plan to find the lowest cost system overall, just the lowest cost one that fits with everything that governments have already committed to.
And that's just on costs. The other worry, which if you can believe it is even more ominous, is whether or not the plan can actually work in practice. Can the idea of replacing our once fossil fuel driven electricity grid with a renewables plus storage model even work? It's never been done in any comparable country. Can Australia even do this?
I'm actually quite confident that no, the integrated system plan does not model a reliable system. That might be news to a lot of people, but that was something that was revealed. It can be revealed by the way, diving deep into the models and seeing what they actually do and how their optimisation process works.
Oh dear, we're leaping into the unknown. We're demolishing one power source and betting our future on another option that might not even do the job. Our national energy self-harm continues, with politicians, activists and even unions pushing for this accelerated renewables rollout.
If we are to keep 1.5 degrees alive, fossil fuels has no ongoing role to play in our energy systems. And I speak as the Climate and Energy Minister of one of the world's largest fossil fuel exporters.
But we now have expert confirmation that the hugely expensive and accelerated renewables rollout will continue to push up prices turning our energy-rich country into one with energy costs that continue to nobble our economy and damage our future. And we also have expert confirmation that it might not even work. We might not have enough energy available when we need it. An energy-rich country without enough energy. This is something many of us have feared and warned about for years. What a shambles. I'll have my full interview with Aidan Morrison later. Don't miss it.